Summertime is vacation time here in Germany, and when the warm weather arrives, millions of families prepare for their annual getaways. Most car owners still prefer to drive even to distant holiday destinations, loading up their vehicles with luggage, children, and dreams of adventure. But when it comes to road safety, one crucial component often goes overlooked until absolutely necessary: tires. Tires are, of course, of paramount importance to vehicle safety. They're the only point of contact between your car and the road, responsible for traction, braking, and handling in all weather conditions. More than 50 million tires are sold each year in Germany alone, making it a multi-billion-dollar business that touches virtually every driver's life. But here's the question almost nobody asks. Where do these tires actually come from, and under what conditions are they produced? The tires on my family car are well past their prime. They're getting old, visibly brittle, and the tread depth is approaching the legal minimum. With a family vacation approaching, I can't afford to take risks. The need to replace them has got me thinking seriously about the origin and sustainability of tires on the market. It's a question that seems simple on the surface, but leads to a complex global journey I never expected. Chapter 1: The German Tire Market. I visit Reifenmarktlingen, a long-established family-run business and one of the largest independent tire dealers in Western Germany. The showroom is impressive, lined with gleaming displays from every major brand: Michelin, Bridgestone, Continental, Goodyear, Pirelli. I'm looking for new summer tires and expert advice, but I have questions that go beyond grip and durability. Can you tell where a tire was produced? I ask. The question briefly catches the sales advisor off guard. He turns several tires, pointing to the small codes on the sidewalls. Yes, right here. Made in China, Japan, the Czech Republic, Thailand, Poland. Tires are clearly produced all over the world and shipped globally. I ask whether customers care about the conditions under which tires are made. His answer is honest. Very few do. Most care about price, performance, and brand reputation. Sustainability rarely comes up. Still, he believes the major manufacturers meet acceptable standards. Big brands take sustainability seriously these days, he says. If you choose reputable companies, you can buy with a clear conscience. His confidence is reassuring. But is it justified? To find out, we decide to investigate for ourselves, tracing the journey back to Southeast Asia, where the natural rubber that makes modern tires possible begins. Chapter 2: Thailand, the Rubber Capital. Thailand is the world's biggest producer of natural rubber, and the statistics are staggering. More than 4 million tons of natural rubber are harvested on Thai plantations each year, shipped to factories around the globe. Over the last 30 years, production in Thailand has grown by an astonishing 300%, transforming the landscape and economy of entire regions. We fly to Bangkok, the bustling center of the international rubber trade. Skyscrapers tower over markets where commodities are bought and sold, fortunes made and lost. We're meeting journalist Vera Pradipchaikul, who's written extensively about the rubber industry and its impact on Thai society. He's agreed to serve as our guide into a world that typically remains hidden from foreign journalists and consumers. Even from our car as we drive through the city, it's immediately clear what an enormous role the tire industry plays in Thailand's economy. After all, it's not just natural rubber that is produced here, Vera explains, gesturing at the industrial landscape passing by our windows. Many finished tires are manufactured here too. They're then shipped around the world in those containers you see at the port. But it's not easy to get a glimpse inside this business. Why is that? I ask. Is the industry particularly secretive? Vera nods knowingly. Well, as the rubber industry plays such an important role in the Thai economy, I think the people in this industry want to keep some secrets to themselves. It's quite difficult to get information from them, especially about working conditions and supply chains. They're very protective of their operations. Chapter 3: Inside the plantations. Our investigation leads us to Khao Chamao district in Rayong province, southeast of Bangkok, one of Thailand's major rubber-growing regions. Vast plantations of all sizes dominate the landscape. Through Vera's industry contacts, we gain rare access to one of them. The owner, Balfa, inherited the plantation from his parents decades ago. He agrees to speak with us, though he's cautious around cameras. As he walks us through the neatly ordered rows of rubber trees, he explains the land's history. This was once untouched rainforest, he says. My parents cleared it in the 1970s. We first grew rice and sugarcane, but rubber promised much higher profits. The plantation begins just behind his modest home. Here we see rubber harvesting up close, a process largely unchanged for over a century. A worker carefully cuts the tree's bark, allowing milky latex to drip into a small cup. The latex can be collected as a liquid or mixed with vinegar or formic acid to make it coagulate into solid rubber, which is easier to transport and store. Bayapa employs more than 50 workers, but the business is struggling. It's not like it used to be, he admits. A global oversupply and falling Chinese demand caused rubber prices to collapse about 5 years ago. We used to earn good money. Now we cut costs just to survive. If even the plantation owner feels this pressure, what does that mean for the workers at the very bottom? We're about to find out. Chapter 4. The Worker's Reality. At the edge of the plantation, hidden from the road and the owner's house, we find the workers' living quarters. Fragile huts made from scrap wood and metal with leaking roofs and no proper doors or windows. The residents are all Cambodian migrants willing to work for wages far below what Thai workers would accept. With the help of an interpreter, we speak to several workers during a break. One young woman, Na, agrees to talk, though she's clearly afraid. She has worked here for 7 years, since the age of 16. I work about 12 hours a day, 5 days a week, sometimes more, she says calmly, as if it's normal. Rubber harvesting happens at night. As darkness falls, workers emerge with head torches and buckets. Their shift runs from 8 p.m. until around 5 a.m. In near-total darkness, they carefully cut spiral grooves into the trees, keeping the latex flowing without killing them. Na never learned to read or write. Her entire life has been spent here, working alongside her extended family. She earns between 4,000 and 5,000 baht a month, around 110 to 140 euros, for constant day and night labor. That's roughly half of Thailand's minimum wage. In the rainy season, when work stops, pay stops too. Sometimes we have no food at all, Na tells us. At dawn, her daughter leaves for school while Na goes to sleep. 8 family members share 2 thin mattresses, sleeping in shifts. This is the hidden human cost behind the global rubber supply. Chapter 5. Chemical Dangers. Outside Na's hut, we meet her brother, Da. Today, he's spraying herbicide between the rubber trees to clear undergrowth. He carries a backpack sprayer filled with chemicals and wears only a thin cloth mask. When we check the container, we're shocked. It's paraquat, an extremely toxic herbicide banned in the European Union for decades because of severe health risks. Da is 25 and believes the mask is enough. No one has ever told him otherwise. What he doesn't know is that paraquat is easily absorbed through the skin. Long-term exposure can cause kidney and liver failure, heart damage, and even death. He's spraying it in shorts and a t-shirt, with bare arms and legs exposed. There's been no safety training, no protective clothing, and no warnings. Before every harvest, we have to kill all the grass, Da explains. Otherwise, snakes hide there and bite us when we work at night. We have no choice. The chemicals work fast. One area is green and alive before spraying. Days later, everything is brown and dead. The poison remains in the soil for months, possibly years, seeping into groundwater and the surrounding ecosystem. As we continue observing the plantation, the pattern is clear. No gloves, no boots, no protective gear. Workers handle rubber with bare hands, cut trees with sharp knives in darkness, and come into constant contact with toxic residues. The risks are everywhere, but the protection is nowhere. Chapter 6. The Supply Chain. After the harvest, Bayapa sells his collected rubber to a woman who effectively controls the commodity trade in this entire area. A broker or middleman who wields enormous power. She dictates the price to plantation owners. As tradition has it in the system, Bava has virtually no right to negotiate. It's take her offer or have no buyer at all. We meet this broker at her facility where rubber from dozens of small plantations is collected, weighed, and consolidated for transport to processing factories. She's a shrewd businesswoman, carefully guarding information about her operations. From here, we send the latex to our partner factories for processing, she explains, gesturing at the large rubber bales stacked in her warehouse. Then, our processed rubber is sent on to many well-known international firms. Companies like Goodyear, for example, are among our customers. This is a crucial connection, linking these brutal working conditions directly to major tire manufacturers that sell products in Germany and worldwide. We ask what specific factories she supplies. She becomes visibly uncomfortable, pulls out her phone, and calls someone, speaking rapidly in Thai. After a brief conversation, she returns looking apologetic but firm. I'm sorry, but the factory prefers to remain anonymous. They don't want their name disclosed to journalists. It's company policy. Undeterred by this wall of secrecy, we decide to follow one of her trucks when it leaves to make a delivery. We want to know exactly who processes this rubber harvested under such questionable conditions. Chapter 7. The Factory Walls. We follow the truck to the towering gates of the Taihua Rubber Factory, a vast industrial complex largely owned by Chinese investors. From the road, we see smokestacks, storage halls, and massive production buildings. When we ask for permission to film or speak with management, security turns us away immediately. Journalists are not welcome. Formal requests, they tell us, would be pointless. From a nearby elevated spot, we glimpse the scale of the operation. This factory processes thousands of tons of rubber each month for tire manufacturers worldwide. What happens inside, however, remains hidden. Unexpectedly, we gain access to a much smaller rubber processing factory. The Thai owner inherited it from her family and shows us around. Her business also supplies Taihua. Here, liquid latex is processed into rubber sheets and blocks. Conditions appear slightly better than on the plantations. Thai workers, concrete buildings, and some safety equipment, though not always used. We ask about wages. Thailand's legal minimum is 9,000 baht per month. One worker tells us, I earn about 5,000 baht, maybe more if rubber prices rise. The explanation reveals the loophole. Workers aren't paid wages, but shares of sales. We split profits 50-50, the owner explains. That means no guaranteed income, no benefits, and no real labor protection. Behind the factory lies its own plantation. There, an elderly couple still harvests rubber. The man is over 80 years old and has worked plantations for more than 50 years. With no pension or support, they cannot stop. They labor in poverty, while the global tire industry earns over 120 billion euros a year. Chapter 8. Confronting the manufacturers. With our findings in hand, we turn to the tire manufacturers themselves. First, Bridgestone. The Japanese multinational is the world's largest tire producer, generating more than 30 billion euros in annual revenue. We submit a formal interview request, outlining our investigation and asking specific questions about rubber sourcing and working conditions. After several days, the response arrives, polite but clear. Bridgestone declines to provide an interview and refuses to answer detailed questions about its supply chain. Michelin, the French tire giant and second largest producer worldwide, responds in much the same way. An interview is declined. Instead, we receive a short written statement expressing a general commitment to sustainability without addressing any of our concrete findings. Next, we contact Continental. The German company recently invested hundreds of millions of euros in a new production plant near Rayong, Thailand. We reach out multiple times before and during our visit. Most requests go unanswered. This one receives no reply at all. As Germany's largest tire manufacturer and the world's fourth biggest, Continental carries a particular responsibility when it comes to ethical sourcing and labor standards. Yet they refuse to engage with our questions. While the companies remain silent, local activists tell us the situation on rubber plantations in neighboring Cambodia may be even worse than what we've documented so far. So, we decide to go further and take our investigation across the border. Chapter 9. Cambodia. Worse than we imagined. From Phnom Penh that we travel north into Cambodia's rural provinces. Vast rubber plantations dominate the landscape, replacing what was once subsistence farmland with industrial monoculture. With help from our local interpreter, we attempt to arrange access to a rubber processing factory. Official filming permission is denied, but we're allowed to observe production from a distance. Using discrete filming methods, we document the process. Rubber arrives as liquid latex or solid blocks and is processed for export to manufacturers across Europe, North America, and Asia. The working conditions are brutal. During the high season, we work from 6 in the morning until 10 at night, one worker tells us. 16-hour days, 7 days a week. In the off-season, we're sent home without pay. Workers live in long concrete barracks across from the factory. Often entire families, parents and older children, work together either in the factory or on company-owned plantations. It's a cycle driven by poverty with little chance of escape, Factory workers are slightly better off than plantation laborers. They have shared bathrooms and a basic communal kitchen, though conditions remain harsh. We usually earn about $150 a month, one woman says while cooking rice. In the high season, maybe up to 250. That higher wage comes only with extreme hours, well over 100 hours a week. Even at its best, this is not a living wage. Chapter 10. Land Theft and Indigenous Communities. We travel to Ratnakiri province in northeast Cambodia, home to indigenous communities who have lived on this land for generations. One such village is Kak, near the Tonle San River. Until recently, its people farmed rice and vegetables according to traditional customs, and lived modest but stable lives. That changed abruptly. Their land was taken through deals that were technically legal but morally indefensible. International companies, exploiting weak land rights and corruption, bought vast areas from government officials. Land the villagers had worked for centuries but never formally owned. Driven by global demand for natural rubber, the villagers' fields were bulldozed without consent and replaced with endless rubber plantations. Almost all agricultural land is now gone. Village Chief Ploya, 65, describes what happened. We protested. We blocked roads. But we had no chance against companies backed by the government. Many families now have nothing to eat. Our children go hungry. He shows us the remains. Bare red earth where crops once grew. Even ancestral graves in a sacred mountain used for ceremonies were destroyed. The villagers refused to work on plantations built on their stolen land. They continue to protest and pursue legal action, but with little hope. The companies have money and power. The villagers have only their traditions. New settlements now house migrant workers brought into labor on the plantations. People just as desperate. Rubber production in Cambodia keeps growing. A global tire industry largely unaware of the human cost. We've seen enough. We return to Germany to confront the industry with our findings. Chapter 11. Confronting Continental. We try our luck again at Continental's impressive headquarters in Hanover, Germany. In 2018, this automotive supplier had a turnover of 44.4 billion euros, making it one of Germany's largest and most successful companies. Surely they can spare someone to answer questions about their supply chain? No one here wants to be interviewed on camera. No executive will meet with us. However, after persistent requests, they do at least provide a written reply to some of our questions, carefully crafted by their legal and public relations departments. The statement reads, Continental uses natural commodities conscientiously and develops, promotes, and implements sustainable and responsible sourcing of natural rubber across the entire value chain. The statement continues with more corporate language. Continental is fully aware of its responsibility and aims to make an active and responsible contribution to promoting sustainably produced natural rubber worldwide. Continental also refers us to their official code of conduct, a glossy document full of noble principles. Since 2011, all our suppliers have had to agree to abide by our comprehensive business partner code of conduct. The statement emphasizes, but what does this actually mean in practice? We've documented workers earning half the minimum wage, living in shacks, exposed to toxic chemicals, working through the night. Are these the sustainable and responsible conditions Continental refers to? Chapter 12. The Rubber Industry Association. We travel to Frankfurt to meet the German Rubber Manufacturers Association, the WDK, one of the most influential lobby groups in the tire industry. Many major manufacturers are members. Their headquarters, an elegant villa in the city center, feels worlds away from the Cambodian plantations. We meet Managing Director Boris Engelhardt, who agrees to speak with us. He presents the WDK's official code of conduct, which promises integrity, fairness, and social responsibility across the entire rubber supply chain. A sustainability charter, he explains, commits member companies to responsibility for workers at every level. But we press him. How can these standards exist when Cambodian workers earn around $150 a month for 16-hour days? How are conditions actually verified? Engelhardt admits the limits. We can't control everything down to the individual plantation. The supply chain is extremely complex. But you buy billions of euros worth of rubber, we argue. Surely that gives you leverage. He explains the system. Even if manufacturers paid more, the money would pass through layers of traders and middlemen, often 7 or 8, before ever reaching farmers or workers. The chain, he says, is fragmented and opaque. We then show him our footage: collapsing huts, hungry children, toxic chemicals handled without protection, wages far below legal minimums. He watches in silence. "That's shocking," he finally says. "I can't justify conditions like that. We clearly need to improve oversight and use our purchasing power more effectively." Whether this leads to real change or remains empty rhetoric remains to be seen. Chapter 13. Goodyear's response. Like Continental, the other market leaders, Bridgestone and Michelin, also refuse to give us interviews. They provide only brief written statements about their general sustainability commitments, without addressing specific concerns. We try our luck in Hanau near Frankfurt, where Goodyear has its European headquarters. The American company is the world's third biggest tire manufacturer with annual revenues exceeding $15 billion. But we have no success here either in securing an interview. Goodyear responds with a carefully worded written statement. Goodyear doesn't buy natural rubber from Cambodia. This seems like a direct response to our investigation, attempting to distance themselves from the worst abuses we documented. The statement continues. We source less than 5% of our global requirements for natural rubber from Thailand. Only 5%. That still represents millions of kilograms of rubber annually, given their massive production volume. It goes on. We're committed to the responsible sourcing of raw materials, including natural rubber, and we work with our suppliers to ensure appropriate labor and environmental standards. The statement concludes with a different topic. We offer retread tires for commercial vehicles and aircraft, reducing the overall use of natural rubber. This raises an interesting question. Why does Goodyear actively retread the tires of commercial vehicles and airplanes, which represent a small fraction of total tire usage, and not the tires of private passenger cars, which make up the vast majority of vehicles on the road? Could retreading be a solution to reduce demand for plantation rubber? Chapter 14. The retreading alternative. In Heidenheim, Germany, we visit the country's only significant retreader of passenger car tires. The facility is run by Ulrich Opalka, an entrepreneur committed to giving tires a second life. Here, worn treads are removed and replaced with new rubber, while the rest of the tire remains intact. Opalka explains the logic. Only the tread is worn, he says. The casing and sidewalls are still perfectly fine. Yet we throw away an entire product when only about 20% is used. That's economically and environmentally absurd. Germany has no legal requirement to retread or even properly recycle tires. As a result, Opalka sources most used tires from France and Spain, where collection systems are stronger. In Germany, many old tires are shredded and burned in cement kilns as fuel. That system is now breaking down. Cement plants are overwhelmed and increasingly refuse tires, or charge to accept them. Still, around 200,000 tons of tires are burned each year in Germany alone, while new rubber plantations continue expanding in Southeast Asia. Retreading, Opalka says, is a clear alternative. We still need some new rubber, but 70 to 80% less than producing a new tire. The environmental savings are substantial. He shows us a finished retreaded tire. It meets the same safety, speed, and load standards as a new one. From a legal and technical standpoint, he says there is absolutely no difference. The tire looks new, but its footprint is far smaller. Chapter 15. The image problem. Tire retreads have a persistent image problem, as Ulrich Opalka knows all too well from years of fighting against misconceptions. He shares a frustrating example. A local government authority issued a call for tenders for equipping police vehicles with winter tires, and this official call categorically ruled out retreaded tires. It explicitly stated that only new tires would be considered, and that's even though the same government always publicly maintains that it places great importance on sustainability and environmental responsibility. And no one has been able to explain to me to this day what actual data or technical facts this decision against retreads was based upon. It seems to be pure prejudice. we become interested in finding out why police in the city of Recklinghausen specifically decided against retread tires. We submit a request for an interview with the procurement department, but our request is declined. Instead, they issue a written statement defending their decision. On emergency calls, our vehicles face extreme situations. Police cars have to be able to cope with greater strains than normal civilian vehicles on the road, including high-speed pursuits and emergency braking. But Recklinghausen police don't actually explain why a properly manufactured retread wouldn't be up to this job, nor do they cite any test data or technical specifications. Chapter 16. The Testing Laboratory. We travel to the northern German state of Schleswig-Holstein to visit one of Germany's few independent tire testing laboratories, a facility that conducts rigorous scientific testing of tire performance for manufacturers, regulators, and consumer protection organizations. We have an appointment with Peter Klingen, a veteran tire testing expert with over 30 years of experience. We explain the police department's reasoning and ask for his professional assessment. The police and procurement authorities say they can't use retreads because they don't meet their high-performance specifications. Can that really be true based on the technical data? Klingen shakes his head firmly. No, that's not accurate at all. We've been testing both new tires and retreaded tires for decades now. If a retread is produced from a high-quality worn tire using modern retreading processes, then it will match the performance characteristics of a comparable new tire in virtually every measurable way. Braking distance, cornering grip, wet traction, all of it. He continues, the police and the general public should seriously consider both the environmental and financial arguments in favor of retreads. Nowadays, we can definitely say with confidence that modern retread plants in Europe are so technologically advanced that their products can compete directly with new tires in terms of performance and safety. So, there's no technical reason to reject retreads? I asked to clarify. Not for normal passenger vehicle applications, no. For specialized applications like aircraft tires or heavy machinery, there might be specific considerations, but for police cars, ambulances, normal vehicles, no, there's no valid technical reason. It's purely perception and outdated assumptions. After this long investigation spanning 2 continents, I've learned far more than I expected about the hidden cost of the tires we casually purchase and replace. I've seen the human faces behind this industry, the exhausted workers harvesting rubber through the night, the children going hungry, the indigenous communities robbed of their land. I've also learned about an alternative that could significantly reduce the demand for plantation rubber while saving money and resources: professional retreading. So I decided to go for retreaded tires this time, making a conscious choice for sustainability over the comfort of simply buying new. I wonder how my local workshop will respond to this unusual request. The mechanic examines my old tires and confirms they need replacement. I tell him I want to try retreads instead of new tires. He looks slightly surprised but agrees to order them. When the retreaded tires arrive, he mounts them on my car. First of all, the tires have to be balanced on the machine to ensure smooth rotation. 30, 30, he reads from the machine. What does that mean? Basically, it means they can be easily balanced, no problem at all, he explains. There are some big-name new tire brands that actually aren't balanced this well right out of the factory. I'm genuinely curious to see how these retreaded tires perform on the road. This time, I've consciously opted for sustainability over convention. Based on all the technical evidence I've reviewed, I'm also confident they're completely safe for my family. And with this peace of mind, I set off on my family vacation, driving on retreaded tires and thinking about the workers in Thailand and Cambodia who deserve so much better than the conditions we documented. The tire industry can change. Consumers can make different choices, but first, we all need to ask the questions that nobody wants to answer. Where do our tires really come from? And what is the true cost of our mobility?